Welcome back to another episode of the Grow Your Daycare podcast. Today we're talking about something that's a little bit touchy, especially if you've been affected by this. So I want you to know that if you've been affected by this, you are not alone. We're talking about transforming your childcare center's image, boost enrollment and reputation, especially if you've been faced with low enrollment due to complaints or bad reviews and testimonials, okay? So we're going to get into it. Before we do, I want to make sure that you know that there's a few ways we can work together, whether you're an in-home or a small center, or even if you're looking for one-to-one or Facebook ads management, we can definitely help you with any of those. Check out the links in our show notes to get some more information on how we can work together to help you really increase your online reach and get more families enrolled in your program. So let's get back to today's episode. If your childcare center is facing low enrollment or grappling with, for example, negative reviews, which, by the way, happens to all of us, you are not alone. Many childcare providers encounter these challenges, but the good news is that you can turn these things around. So by improving your services and effectively highlighting positive feedback, you can shift the narrative and attract more families to your center, okay? So again, if you're going through this right now, if you've gone through this before, just know that you can always turn things around. And I promise you, this is going to be a blessing in disguise, okay? So the first thing I want you to consider is understanding the problem, because if you don't understand the root of this, like why this is happening, why are you getting this bad reputation, then you won't be able to go into CEO mode and really just fix the problem. Okay, so low enrollment can stem from a few things, right? So the variety of factors. So things like maybe there's a lot of competition out there. Maybe you have poor online visibility. Maybe you don't have any social media presence, or people just don't know that you exist, right? But negative reviews can particularly be damaging, as they can discourage potential clients from choosing your center, right? And obviously in today's digital age, everyone, especially parents, your local, moms and dads, they're online and they are heavily relying on these reviews and recommendations when they're trying to select a child care program for their child, okay? So if your center has been marred by negative feedback, it's crucial to address the underlying issues and promote the positive aspects of your services, okay? So we can turn things around, okay? Number one, I want you to identify the areas of improvement, and there are always things that we can do to improve ourselves as business owners, our skill set, our mindset, but especially our business and the way we're running it, okay? So the first thing you want to think about is kind of doing an audit of everything, okay? Everything in your business. So let's think about a few areas. First is safety and cleanliness. We want to make sure, obviously, that you are meeting all your guidelines, that your facilities and everything is up to par, that you are running a clean and safe environment for parents, for kids, and for your staff, and that you are prioritizing the health and the well-being of the kids, okay? So that's the first thing. Do a real audit, check, and really just think about this. If you're a mom and dad, would you feel safe and secure knowing that your child was in your program, okay? The second is staff training and qualifications. Unfortunately, and this is if you're running, let's say, a center, or let's say if you have a few people working under you, your staff, especially if it's a really, like if you've hired a rotten apple, they can destroy your business, okay? We actually had one of our first hires, actually, when I was running my center. She was the worst hire we ever did. At that moment, we loved her. We thought she was amazing. It was the first time I had ever interviewed anyone in my life. And I've spoken about this a few times. The interview went on for over an hour. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no notes. I had no structure to the interview. It was a hot mess. Decided to hire her. Long story short, when my business started growing, when I started growing as a business owner, and I started kind of setting things in place so that my business could run, in a better fashion, I guess. She couldn't handle it. It was a mess. I understood that she was really the wrong person for the job, But until we actually got rid of her, it was a huge mess and a lot of stress on myself, the other business owner, the parents, the kids, the staff. Finally, we did get rid of her. We had to pay her to leave. But again, another story for another day. The point is that your staff, if you're not careful, can definitely kind of ruin your daycare's reputation, right? So that's kind of like a side note to make sure that when you are hiring, that you do your due diligence and you do it well and you take your time to hire the right person, okay? So let's get back to our little points. So staff training and qualifications. I want you to make sure that you evaluate the qualifications and training of all your staff. Providing ongoing professional development can enhance the quality care of your education, especially if you feel that your staff is kind of stagnant. They've been there for a while. Maybe they're doing the same old activities every single year or every single season. You want to make sure that you're pouring into them and that you are, providing chances for them to go to workshops. Maybe you could bring somebody in the house to do a workshop, always developing their skill set, okay? The third thing is communication. So are you open and transparent when you're communicating with the parents? And this is it's vital, right? You want to make sure that the parents receive regular updates about their kids' progress and any changes within the center. So let's say you've had a change of staff or you've changed something in your rule book, or maybe you have a field trip. You want to make sure that you have some type of app or some type of way to connect with your moms and dads in a way, obviously, that's professional, right? So don't be texting people on your private phone. Just have some type of app that you can communicate back and forth and share valuable information, always making sure that your communication is open and that it's transparent. And I would add professional as well, right? Number 4, your curriculum and your activities. So you need to start thinking about, if you're getting bad reviews, start thinking about the activities and the curriculum that you're offering. Is it something stimulating or is it boring? Is it something that you really don't really believe in? Do you have a curriculum or are you just allowing the kids to kind of do random things throughout the day? This is so important, especially when we're talking about modern families and modern parents that have a choice right now. Like, people have a choice to put their kids in all sorts of types of childcare programs. So you have to make sure that you're thinking about that. So are there enough engaging activities that promote learning and development, right? Have you considered maybe integrating new things? So maybe play-based learning or STEM programs or outdoor activities to kind of attract more parents, okay? I had a client that was running a home daycare. She was in San Francisco and she was running a bilingual Montessori program, but she realized that a lot of the other daycares around her weren't really offering extracurricular activities. So she started bringing in a specialist to do soccer classes with the kids in the yard. And then the next session, she invested in someone to come in and do science projects with the kids. So once a week, the kids would have science class with somebody that would come in and just do that. So this was really fun for the parents because their kids were having a good time. The program was always changing and it was stimulating and educational. And obviously she would share about this on her social media and in her ads, and that eventually fully booked her program and really just started a wait list for her. Okay, so start thinking about your program and really just take it seriously. Don't just go in these huge Facebook groups and ask what's everybody using for curriculum and then just kind of buy something online, and just do that if you don't really believe in it. I actually have I did a video over on my YouTube channel last year. I will try to find it and link it to this episode. So check the show notes if you want to watch it, on how to put your curriculum together. Okay. It's so important. Even if you're running a small in-home, the kids should be experiencing and having fun, yes, but learning things and being stimulated, right? Even if you're running an in-home with 4 or 5 or 6 kids, there's always activities that can be planned, experiences to be had, and it's really important that you do the work in order to make sure that you are stimulating these kids, right? Number 5 is parent involvement. Are you someone that enjoys having parents around? Or not really? Like I've worked with teachers that just didn't like it when parents would come in and kind of supervise their kid in their class. And I've had moms and dads, and I've had teachers that loved when their moms and dads would come in and read a story and do a cooking activity with a class. So what type of business owner are you, right? It's so important that you create opportunities for parents to get involved in your center or your home daycare. So whether that's like volunteering or maybe attending events or just participating in things like surveys or coming in the class and reading a story or having a potluck, like whatever that is, you want to open up your doors and show moms and dads that there's the kids are safe, they're well, that you want them to come in and see and experience this for themselves, right? And that you really want to foster that sense of community, because that's really going to strengthen your relationship with the parents and between yourself and the staff as well. So think about things like that. Okay, are you someone that does stuff like this, like the parent involvement piece, or not really? Okay, and if you're not, then do your audit again: safety and cleanliness, staff training and qualifications, communication, curriculum and activities, and parent involvement, and then start putting down a plan in place. Okay, because you're probably going to start see kind of areas where you're kind of dropping the ball. And once you figure these out, and then you go into CEO mode and you are trying to implement positive changes, right? So obviously, if you know where you're lacking, then you can go in and change these things, okay? So once you've identified the areas that you want to improve, I want you to develop an action plan to address them. Okay, so some things to consider. Maybe you want to enhance your safety protocols. Maybe you want to offer parent workshops or maybe host workshops in your facility or in your home daycare, right? Maybe you want to highlight qualifications. Maybe you're sending, let's say, your staff to do some workshops and you want to highlight this on all your social media platforms or in your newsletters and your emails or even on your website, right? You want to be able to be engaging with families more. So maybe you can have a day in the month when you have like a volunteer parent come in and they read stories and they spend like half a day with you with the kids, and really just again document and share about this on your platforms. It's just so important that once you come up with your plan, that you're not shy about sharing it with everybody, right? Because that's the point. If people are going to go out and write negative things about you, you want to go out and kind of correct that in an honest way. So again, once you put your plan in place, you go out and you start sharing about all the changes that you've made on your platforms, on your content, in your newsletter, and even in your ads, right? So for example, I was working with a client that she has a small center, and when she took over, it was a mess. Like she didn't have any kids that were enrolled, and she was kind of freaking out because, she had like space for 90 and I think she had like 30 kids enrolled only, but the place needed a lot of love and attention. So she started renovating, painting and adding different things, making it look really nice. And we actually took videos of that and pictures and we used it in her ads. Okay. So that parents can see that, hey, so-and-so daycare, oh, look what they've done. They refreshed the paint. The toys are new. They've really poured in a lot of love into their space, right? So again, every single thing that you are going to implement to kind of, to get that positive change, you want to make sure that you are always sharing about it, okay? So as you're implementing your improvements, again, you want to be able to be promoting it, obviously, online to kind of counterbalance that negative feedback that you got. Okay. So updating your online presence and doing, like maybe going live or doing little short stories and just kind of explaining to everybody how you just revamped your social media profile or you revamped the baby room, the toddler room, or you just invested X amount of money in getting, your yard redone or things like that, right? You want to be able to be encouraging reviews as well. So as you are implementing these new changes, hopefully parents are going to be super grateful and happy and they're going to have great experiences. So you always want to be able to be collecting these reviews, whether that's by you asking them, whether that's by you taking snapshots of, maybe someone sent you a message on your phone, or maybe it's directing them to a form to fill out or on your social media or your Google My Business, whatever the case, you always want to be actively encouraging reviews. You want to be able to collect them and then again share about them on your platforms. And you always want to be able to utilize all this on your social media pages, right? So I say if you have one review to share every single week, and you can repurpose them as well, right? You're good to go. Like it's more than enough. Share one review every single week on your social media platforms, and I promise you your business is going to change, okay? And the last step really is to kind of monitor and adapt. So once you've made these changes and you really started to promote positive feedback, again, on all your platforms, it's really important to kind of monitor the impact of the efforts, right? So you want to keep track, obviously, of your enrollments, how many people called, how many people booked visits, how many people left you reviews. And you always want to be tracking your insights on social media as well to make sure that this was not only necessary, but it actually did give you the results that you wanted, right? We're going to know this only with the data, again, with, comments on social media, with the reviews that you're getting, with how many visitors you got on your website, and obviously with the booked visits and your enrollments, okay? So this is really going to help you grow your business and turn something negative into something positive, okay? So, transforming the image of your childcare center is a journey that requires dedication and effort, obviously, right? But by identifying areas for improvement and implementing positive changes, and then highlighting the experiences of satisfied families, you can shift the narrative around your center. And you're going to see your enrollments soar. I promise you, if you take the time, again, to do the work, to do the audit, to implement the plan, and then to share about it online, okay? So if you are running a center and you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need help, reach out to us. Our information is in the show notes of this episode. Reach out to us and we can chat to see how we can do this together, and maybe just offer some feedback as well. I hope that this episode blesses you and your business. And I hope that it really turns your bad review into an amazing review, and that you turn things around for your business. Okay. So I will